And while many celebs will spend the day prepping for tonight's Met Gala, Diddy Combs will spend his day in court as jury selection for his case now gets underway.
The music mogul turned down a plea deal last week. He faces life in prison if convicted on charges of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking. Attorney Lisa Bonner joins us this morning to walk us through the jury selection process, how long it can take. Lisa, thank you so much for being here with us today to hold our hands through all of this. First things first, he turned down a plea deal. What do we know about that plea deal and how it was structured?
We don't know anything about the plea deal and how it was structured. As a matter of fact, it was under wraps until last week when he basically said in court that I affirmed with the judge that I have turned down the plea deal, but there have been no information. There's been nothing released.
Have any inklings like what it could be with roadmaps of other criminal cases like this?
This is literally the best kept secret in the legal world. There's been
everybody
nothing.
Wants to know.
We all want to know.
Right.
And we have no idea.
Now, jury selection now underway. We're hearing, too, it could look a bit different than past elections. And why is that? Well,
the judge is employing what is called sequestered questioning. And in this instance, you are having the judge in his private courtroom, bringing the jurors in one by one and asking them about their potential issues with sensitive information, domestic violence, and wanting to know if you've had any kind of experience with that. Now, they will also be able to have a sidebar out of earshot of reporters where they are, where the judge is able to speak to the potential witnesses and ask them and talk to them really kind of off the record about their issues. Now, in a typical jury trial, you have the entire courtroom filled with all the jurors.
Right, and everybody hears
everybody
what everybody
hears.
else is saying.
Right, so the sequestered questioning, because of the very nature and the sensitive information and the questions, they want to protect the potential jurors' privacy.
So, jury selection really shapes the whole trial here. There are big consulting firms that work on this to help the lawyers craft this on both sides. What are some of the things that end up getting people excluded? And what do you think each side is looking for in a potential juror that is more sympathetic to their side of the case?
Well, let's start with the prosecution. The prosecution is going to be looking for women, right? They're going to obviously look for women. They're going to look for someone who believes in personal accountability and responsibility. They're going to be looking for someone who really believes in due process. Now, the defense, on the other hand, is going to be looking for men, potentially older men in traditional jobs like banking and, the bro code. Jurors, and potentially. They're also going to be looking for people that might have been falsely accused or sympathetic to victims, to people who have been falsely accused of domestic violence. So they are going to really have a lot of opportunity to really try and get the perfect, each side is going to be trying to look the perfect.
And each side gets the opportunity to knock choices out. So when they find one that may be good for the opposition, they may try to push that one out.
Right. Those are called peremptory challenges, and they're just goodbye. You're just excused for any reason, no reason whatsoever, except race or gender.
Okay.
Which could extend the jury selection process, too. Now, the trial is set to last, we're hearing, 2.5 months, perhaps. Is there perhaps an argument for a change of venue for this case, would you think?
It is entirely too late for that. That time has come and gone, and I understand the reason why they're asking for it, but everybody has heard of Diddy Combs, right? And most people have heard of him, but that's the issue with having this case tried in the Southern District of New York, because it goes from Manhattan all the way up to Poughkeepsie, where you have not as many African Americans as you might have in Brooklyn, for example. Brooklyn has a 30% African American population, so you do have those issues where you might have a larger jury pool of African Americans in the Eastern District of New York.
Because all of those things come into play when it comes to picking your juries.
Yes.
Let's talk about these racist sex trafficking laws that prosecutors are using to punish Diddy, according to Diddy's defense side. How does this all come into play? What exactly does this look like?
That's really a red herring that they are really pushing the narrative. The defense team is really pushing the narrative for that. Basically, they're saying, listen, we've never used the Mann Act to prosecute a white man before. And why are you doing it in this instance, right? And it does not matter. And the allegations are so serious, and the witnesses are coming forth, and they are building a very, very strong case. And so the fact that they're pushing this narrative is just something really to just confuse the issues in the mind of the public and the potential jury pool.
You know, Lisa, 5 years ago, Diddy attended the Met Gala with his then girlfriend, Cassie. Today, he's at jury selection. Do you think if he were to take the stand in this case, that it could have a benefit for him?
He is absolutely not going to take the stand. That is not going to happen.
You are ready to bet your entire future on that one.
Will bet that is something that every defense lawyer says, oh, of course he's thinking about it. I will
never in the history of ever.
Because everything that he has ever done will be fair. Up for fair game and for fair questioning. So that is absolutely not going to happen. But I do expect that his defense team will continue to push that narrative. Oh, let's see what's going to happen. We'll see. That is never going to happen.
You know, something else interesting that I wanted to bring up: the jury pool. We talk about racial and ethnic and gender-based makeup. The prosecution team they're all white women. What do you think that means? How does that come into play in this particular case?
Well, that's another interesting narrative that they're pushing. In a typical selection, when the lawyers and the prosecutions are choosing the case, the lawyers sign themselves up for the case. As a black woman, I cannot necessarily say that I would want to prosecute him. I do have my feelings of that in terms of his guilt or innocence, but in terms of the community, that's not something that people would really, as a black woman, I would really want to see. So it could be coincidental, and it could be that no black women have signed up for it, and it's just the way that it fell. And again, this is the narrative, right? It's the narrative that they're going to continue to push, and they are going to do whatever they can to try and sway the jury pool and the court of public opinion, because the evidence is so strong and so emphatic about it.
We appreciate you being here to lead us through this case, which is going to be a lengthy one. Lisa Bonner, thank you so much.
Thank you for
stay with
having
Pix
me.
11 all day as we